didn't highlight the inner corners of my eyes today because I knew when I filmed this video I was probably gonna cry. So if my face looks a little not quite right, it's because I'm gonna finish off my makeup after I film this. Because I just feel like this is like not a video where I want to trust myself to keep like a straight face, where I want to trust myself not to be emo. That's what you're watching, so yeah. Also literally got so impatient. I love how like my makeup's done. It's like eyelashes, nails, done. And then just my hair, it's like still damp from the shower. What even is hairstyle? What even is styling your hair? Don't know her. I know that you're looking at the title and you are probably thinking, Lolo, stop. This is actually a really good story though, and I want to just tell it because not only does it kind of fit with the entire, like my entire life is haunted, I attract this stuff into my life sort of thing, but it's also a really like positive story. When I was figuring out how to word this video and what to say today, I thought at first like I'll just do a life update, but I'm not ready to talk about a lot of things and a lot of changes going on in my life. So I felt like by saying like, oh, life update, you know, in the title, people would think I was addressing things I wasn't. I didn't want to clickbait anyone that hard. I have been going through a lot of changes, and I would say about 95% of them are positive and crucial for my well-being and crucial for my mental health and my physical health. And I have been happier, especially since I moved to LA. I know I haven't been uploading as much, and that's why I wanted to do a sort of tell-all, like, hello, here's where I've been and here's why I've been, you know, kind of whatever. But again, I just don't think it's the right time. But I do want to talk about why and how today I bought a haunted house. I just wanted to say first and foremost that you guys made this possible for me. I live in LA because of you, and today I was able to save something that means a lot because of you. Oh my god. I told you I was gonna get so emo. Okay, all right, enough. One of the big reasons that I've been off of YouTube for not uploading as much, I would say not uploading 3 to 4 times a week, like I think that I kind of was for a while, is because of the fact that I've been dealing with the death of my father. A lot of you would have already known that, and if you're new to my channel, my dad passed away in October. He was and remains my best friend in the world. We spent every waking moment together pretty much. Like if I wasn't visiting him, I was calling him, we were texting, sending each other pictures. Like I didn't have friends. My dad was my best friend. I didn't need anyone or want anyone else. So you can imagine having that kind of bond with another human being, let alone it being your father, that it was really hard on me when he died. And so that's kind of where I've been. But on top of that, I have been the human being who's been handling everything legally, which is not only expensive, but also draining and time consuming and hard when I have to talk to people about this person that is so much more than a name and a social security number and like his income and his jobs. Like he was more than that, and it's like he was really reduced to that. So it's been difficult, obviously, but more so than that, for some reason, well, I know why, but I can never like talk about it openly. Getting my father's estate settled has been nearly impossible. It has been really hard to get his death certificate filed. It was hard to get someone to become the head of his estate. He didn't leave a will. And so like, it was just a rough situation. And as a result of that, things like his home, his mortgage was on auto pay, and then it was like the bank ran out of money because he was gone and there was no like new money coming in. We, meaning my family, my mom, my brother, my lawyers, like everyone around me, were scrambling to try to figure out where his mortgage was at because he owned a house. And my dad was so proud of this house. It was, I think, the only thing he ever bought himself, like the only big thing he ever bought himself, because it was like cars he bought with my mom, or like other houses he bought with my mom. They always were in on it together. That house was very much so a source of pride to him, not because of the money, not because he could finally afford it. I think it was just like, my dad was almost 60, and it's like he finally had something that was his. And when I would come to see him, it was like he was, I don't know how to explain this. I think my mom was very much so like the primary like caretaker in my upbringing. My dad always worked like 2 or 3 jobs at a time to support us, and he was the best father, and he is like the best father in the world. No one could ever beat him. I was very lucky to have such a good person in my life. So it would be like I would come home and he would like cook for me and take me out to dinner, and like I was an adult, I could take care of myself, but every time I would go home, it was like I felt like I was literally a kid again, because my dad made everything just so easy for me. And it was, beyond that, he was the greatest dad in the world, but obviously like the house was special. And I've talked about the house before and how really weird things happened there. You can go back. I'm gonna try to find it. I don't know which video it would be. One of the last times I went to the house and I went to go see my dad, one of the weirdest paranormal experiences I ever had happened there. I never told this in a video, I'm so sorry. My dad had a security system in the house. Security systems are very important in our family. We've all had them pretty much my whole life. And I don't know why, because it seems like they never work. They just always like do weird things. So basically we had a security system in the house. I was watching TV one day. It was like the middle of the, well, one night, it was the middle of the night. So I hear the back door open behind me, like the door opens and it closes and I hear the little like beep beep of the security system. And I'm like, oh, okay, it must be my brother. So I turn around and no one is there. And I'm like, did he, you know, go into my dad's room? That's the only like bedroom that he could have gone into on that floor, whatever. I'm like, what the heck? Why wouldn't he just say hi to me? And so I kind of like go to my dad's room and he's in his room. It's late at night. He's just watching TV or reading or something. And I was like, did Christian come in here? And he was like, no, he's staying out with his friends tonight. He texted me an hour ago. And I told him, well, someone just came in the house because the alarm system went off and I heard somebody open and close the door. And my dad was super weirded out, like literally like walked around the house with me. And I'm someone who always hears bumps in the night, but like this was concrete. Like the door opened and closed behind me. The alarm system went off. It was weird and no one was there and there was no explanation for it to this day. My dad had a roommate at the time, but I don't think he could have gone in and out because I would have heard his room close. There are 2 rooms on that bottom floor. One was his roommate's room, one was my dad's room, and then the rest of the bedrooms were upstairs. So it was like, okay. That was one that I just couldn't shake because I couldn't explain it away. Usually with a lot of mine, it's like I'll tell them and I think that they're creepy and I think that they're weird, but I can usually explain them away in my head. A lot of the times, like the other night I was hanging out with friends and there were like bumps in the night and I was like, guys, it's like the pipes. It's the water pipes just heating up and freezing. And they're like, Lo, we live in Los Angeles and it's 75 degrees outside. And I'm like, no, everything's fine. Don't even worry about it. The house has always had weird stuff. It was the same house that I talked about how like my dad and my brother saw each other and neither one of them was actually there and they had a priest come and like bless the house, all of this stuff. When they first moved there, I don't know if I ever talked about this, they found like animal bones in a circle that like when they looked it up was like this demonic pattern thing. I don't know what it was and I don't want to ask my brother, but it was like this demonic pattern where it was like a circle and then there were animal bones in the middle, at least I'm sure they were animal bones. And it wasn't on the property, it was like right behind the property. And the former owner was really weird, like took off, bought the house, completely remodeled it, made it her own and left her cat there. That's how weird it was. And so I loved the house. Like that's the thing is I've always had weird experiences in the house, always. I've talked about them on my channel, but I loved the house because it was my home and anywhere my dad was, it was always home. My lawyers and I got everything squared away to the point where it was like, okay, we finally know where the mortgage is. I can get caught up on it. We can keep the house. And the bank let us know, hey, we're selling the house on Wednesday. It's going into foreclosure. And like, I really thought about not telling this story online because as like his daughter, I feel like I should have been more on top of things, but also like trying to get information out of people when you have no legal rights is impossible. I tried being very kind, I tried crying, I tried getting more, not aggressive, I'm never aggressive with anyone, but I tried being more, I guess assertive is the right word, where it was like, I have to be able to pay you guys, you have to tell me where this loan is, like talking to people that were involved in the situation. And no one would give me any information because there was no legal meaning to. So finally we figured it out and the house was being sold. I was heartbroken. So that's kind of where I've been the last, I would say like 2.5-ish weeks. I found that out right before VidCon, had to go to VidCon, met you guys, and it honestly made me so much happier. I had a really dark night right before VidCon where it was kind of like, I just felt so defeated and so run down and so like I had done everything wrong, especially with my dad's stuff, but more than that, just in life in general. And it's like the next day I get to go to VidCon and see you guys and it made me so happy. And like I've said this before, but you guys have saved my life and you continue to save my life on a daily basis. That's kind of what I was dealing on the back burner of all of this and on top of a lot of other things I'm currently going through. So I kind of just felt like, well, maybe the house, maybe I'm not meant to keep the house. I'm always someone who tries to see the glass is half full. And I think maybe this is, you know, like the way of getting the house kind of off of my shoulders without me having to part with it by selling it, whatever. And I wind up getting a call by the grace of someone today, and it's the bank. And they were like, I don't even know how they got my number, because my lawyers have been talking to them, but they were supposed to contact, you know, they're supposed to do all this to my lawyers. My lawyers hadn't gotten to me with the information. And the bank calls me and I like pick up, it's a random like North Carolina number, I don't even know. And I'm like, hello. And they say, you know, is this Loey blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And they tell me, we're gonna be selling your father's house. He had apparently missed a lot of mortgage payments, I think right before he passed too. I think he was just under so much stress. And so like they said, you know, we waited as long as we could. We thought, you know, you guys were gonna have the process of like everything legally done sooner, all of this stuff. And I'm just like, crap. And I, you know, tell them like, my dad loved that house. Like, I'm so sorry that we fell behind on payments. Is there anything that I can do? And they tell me that there is something that I can do, except that it's make up for 15 missed mortgage payments. I'm not gonna put a monetary value on anything. I'm not gonna put a dollar sign on anything, because I can imagine that most of you know what 15 missed mortgage payments might look like on, you know, this beautiful house that my dad owned. And I was like shattered. It was just a lot of money. I had my lawyers on one end when I finally talked to them. I was like, hey, like I can do this, you know, whatever. And they were just kind of like, well, don't, like, you're never gonna get your money back. The situation with the house was that my dad bought it for more than its current market value is, basically, because that's the way the housing market works. And I'm an adult, I know nothing. So I have like all these people telling me, don't do it, you're gonna sink your money into a hole. And I was just like, crap, like, how do I say and how do I make the decision to let this thing that my dad was so proud of and that he had so much pride in, this is really like, I know this seems to, it's just information, but this is like a super personal thing I've only told my close friends and like my mom. How do I make the decision to say that this thing that my dad was so prideful of, and this thing that made him so happy, and this thing that he treated with so much love and so much care, and this house meant more to him than anything. This was his home, and this was his first home on his own, really. You know, my brother and I weren't there anymore. Well, my brother still lived with him until he left for Alaska, but like my mom wasn't there. Like, this was his, and this was something he had waited so long to do, and something he just loved. How do you make a decision to say that you're willing to let that go up for auction on courthouse steps? How can you just say, like, how do you actively say, okay, like this thing that meant so much to my dad, how do I let that go? And like, I just felt like he needed more dignity than that, and the house needed more dignity than that. I'm telling you guys, it's so weird the way that this has worked, because it's like I've tried for months to get this together. I obviously just moved to Los Angeles across the country. That was a lot of money. Not living in LA isn't cheap. And I just paid my taxes a few months ago, which, in case you don't know, self-employment taxes are I don't do a Patreon account. I rely entirely on like my brand deals and Google AdSense to make my income, which is pretty standard for YouTubers. But at the same time, the ad thing is hitting pretty hard right now. The adpocalypse is real, you guys. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, like, is this the right thing to do? Is this a smart thing to do? Like, is this what I should be doing? Because frankly, it's terrifying when you are self-employed to drop that kind of money into something that you weren't expecting, because you never know what's coming the next month, what kind of jobs you're gonna do, whatever. And honestly, I'm someone who keeps everything in the bank. I'm terrified of everything. I'm 3 payments ahead on everything in my life. So my cars, I'm 3 payments ahead. Like my cars, I only have one. I'm like 3 payments ahead on my rent. Like, that's just how I live my life, because I'm always ready for something to hit, like something to pop off. I'm ready for disaster. And that's always how I've been. And I know that that's smart. I know it's not a bad thing, but I was like, how do I do this? Like, how do I make this choice? And literally, it was so weird, you guys. I went to go check my bank account and I saw what was in it, and I saw what was in my savings, and I thought, well, I can pull my money from my retirement fund, XYZ. Maybe, you know, I could move back to Georgia and live in the house and not pay for my apartment. I'm thinking through all of these things, and literally in that moment, my bank app crashes and I reload it, and I had been paid from YouTube. It was a weird time of day, like it shouldn't have come through at that time, but I took it as a sign, and I took it as, okay, like I obviously can do this, I'm capable of doing this. Everyone around me is telling me this is a bad decision, this is not a smart financial decision, this money I'm never gonna see again, because if I turn around and I sell the house tomorrow, I'm never gonna see the money that I put into saving the house again, because the house wouldn't sell for as much as it's worth now. And I just did it. And I didn't ask for permission, and I didn't call my lawyers to talk to them. I did let them know I was gonna do it, and they were very not happy with the decision, and they thought it was very stupid. But money doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything when it comes to love. It's easy for me to say that now, because if you had asked me that a few years ago, I would have said that it still meant a lot. And I think that the thing is, I'm very privileged to have the job that I do and do the kind of work that I do. Thank you very, 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 very much for continuing to support me and continuing to watch me on this journey and continuing to like my videos and enjoy what I do and follow me on social media and support me through every project and every thing that I might do on this platform. Because while you are not there as my fans, you're there as my friends, you are still supporting me and allowing me to do this job that let me keep something that means so much to me, but that meant so much to the one person who means the world to me. Yeah, I made a really bad financial decision today, and there are a lot of people in my life who have told me that this is the wrong choice, but you know what's funny is the people that are genuinely close to me and the people that really do love me and have my best interests at heart, my family and my closest friends, have told me how proud they are and how I made the right choice and how my dad would be so proud. And I'm just so grateful that I'm allowed to do this and that I'm allowed to be in a position where I can keep something so special to me. I don't even know if I'm gonna put this up. I don't know. I don't even know if this is like something you guys will enjoy. So I bought my very haunted house, and I'm so excited. We currently have renters in it that were living in it before all of this started happening. So I know them. They're gonna continue to live there in the meantime while I live in LA and I work in LA. And my dad's best friend is managing the property for me, and it's gonna be phenomenal. I'm so happy that I get to share this thing that I love with the people that live there, but also that I get to keep something that literally means the world to me. And I can't believe I have a house. That's insane, like literally insane to me. I'm really happy. I feel like I probably don't seem very happy. I'm also very stressed, but I have like a video coming out about how my movers stole a lot of money from me, like $4,000 or $5,000-ish worth of things. It's great. That'll probably be one of my next videos. So that has been something on the back burner. But I feel like with this massive weight is finally off my chest and I can breathe and feel like I'm moving forward. And this thing that I didn't want to lose more than any object of my father's, more than, I don't know, more than anything, if I could only have one thing, if I could get rid of the life insurance, if I could get rid of his things, like I would have kept that house, because I know I'm never going to feel the same way that I did when he was alive. Like walking in there, I'm not gonna feel the same sense of home, but I'm so happy I could save something that meant so much to him and that he was so proud of, and that I could do this. And I know that he's very proud of me, and I know that he's very thankful for you guys for letting me do this. I just think it's a really great, beautiful story. Maybe you guys think I'm a mushball, it's fine. I love you all so much. I'm gonna go film some happier videos now. I love you. And I will never be able to say more how thankful I am for you. I'm sorry for tearing up. I'm sorry for crying. I'll see you soon.